and welcome to Do the Right Thing, your weekly writing prompt podcast. I'm Alexandra.
And I'm Jarvis.
And Jarvis and I were aspiring writers with one simple, common problem. We never actually took the time to sit down and write.
Exactly. So to solve that issue, we issue a challenge. Each week, you sit down and write a complete short story using 3 or 4 randomly generated words.
Then we come on the podcast, we read the story, we talk about what we learned in writing it, and then we talk about the story sent in by you wonderful listeners.
100%. We're simply here to help you do the right thing. A
doof media production. So this whole time, I just want y'all to know, and Jarvis included, that I've been doing like hand motions around the microphone just to punctuate every word choice. It does look like I am weaving a magical tapestry in the air. So if you just wanted, I just want to build this musical audio theater in your mind palace. Do y'all have a theater in your mind palace? Yeah, and inside of your mind palace, you have a theater where you have all your movies and plays and stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not like a movie theater; it's like a stage
theater. Right, of course.
Mm-hmm. And whenever I listen to music within my mind palace, I see the band playing in front of me as I'm the only person in the audience.
Right, of course,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
You know what my favorite part of my mind palace is when I go into a memory, right? Mm-hmm. And then so I'm experiencing the memory, and then I'm like, you know what? I need a perspective shift. And then I just twist the scene around my head and I look from a different direction. And then I can see something that in my memory was actually behind me. And I can see it from that perspective.
Wow. So you just jump into third person real
I
quick.
basically time travel back to that moment to find out more information about what was going on.
Let's see.
Which is it's pretty useful.
Yeah, damn. Why aren't you a detective? That seems like a very useful skill for breaking down crime scenes.
For one simple reason, Jarvis, I'm not a narc.
No, damn. You're all right. I mean, hey, granted, those narcs get money and acclaim and not stitches. So they're like the safest form of narc. But they're still turning in their own, and I feel like they definitely do the right thing.
They definitely do get stitches. I mean, haven't you read any crime novel? They always get shot or something.
That's true. They always get hurt.
They never need anything more than some stitches.
Oh no! But actually, when they get shot, they're like, ugh. And then they go for their closest bottle of whiskey and then just drink that. Mm-hmm.
Does ACAB apply to Sherlock?
Ooh, well, Sherlock wasn't a cop, so it doesn't.
That's true. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think he just worked with Boston Yard.
Right. It's like, 1, he doesn't hassle people on the street, right? 2, he doesn't shoot people for speeding tickets.
And 3, he's always high.
That is true. He's cool. He's with it.
Yeah,
he's hip and happening.
Wasn't he addicted to opioids or something?
That sounds about right. I feel like if he's addicted to anything, it's like Adderall, but yeah, probably. Or Coke.
Still, he's definitely coked up as he's solving all of those crimes, and
it's what makes him the detective that he is.
Yeah,
exactly. Have you played Disco Elysium yet?
I have not.
You can become Coke detective.
Coke cop. Coke.
Yeah. Speed detective. Yeah. I'm not kidding.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
You can take meth. It's great.
Oof.
I don't think it's not it's not acid, but it's something similar.
Yeah.
Or it's coded to be, it's a, fantasy version of whatever.
But it's a psychedelic, basically.
It's a psychedelic. So, and you could take all 4 drugs at the same time. You could take a psychedelic, you could take speed, you can take alcohol and nicotine. And they all work together. They cancel out each other's worst effects, and you're left just being better than everyone else.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
This seems like the only real RRP that I'm down for.
You should play it.
Yeah, it sounds very close to my real life, so that's great.
Yeah. And if y'all haven't played it, or you have played it, and you haven't watched the Game Club episode that came out several months ago on Disco Elysium, you should go listen to it. It's on the Doof Media YouTube channel. Speaking of, we do a podcast here.
We do a podcast.
Jarvis, what were the words this week?
Thanks for asking. The words for this week were omission, particular, invasion, and firsthand.
Some fun words. I'm looking forward to the stories we got this week, which were quite good.
Yes.
We got a new writer this week, so we would love to read their story. Who is this writer, and what is the name of their story?
Yes, so this new writer, thank you so much for joining us, is named Smallclaude, and the title of the story is Claw.
Some fun little Smallclaude claw. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing there. But yeah, let's get into the story. We'll round out with the other submitted stories, which were also wonderful, and then we'll announce next week's words.
Cool.
So this is Claw by Smallclaude, and that's like CLAUDE, not like past tense of Claude. It's like Claude, the person name.
Yeah, Claude Monet.
Exactly. Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow.
He was a impressionist, I think.
I have an impression that this bit is boring. I'm going to start reading.
That's correct.
Don't get me wrong. My weed guy is regulation. Org license, fraying little QR code on the side of his little street side shack. The whole shebang. But a couple weeks ago, I was sulking around waiting for him to prepare and validate my sanctioned weekly quantity. I heard him talk to someone else about something else that was happening someplace else. Just vague stuff. Just shooting the shit. But you've got to be vague these days if you want to sidestep all the complex algorithms coming through every word you say for something particular enough to feed into the belly of the pattern-recognizing beast. I don't know enough about all that shit. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I should be more like those guys who do their research. Like I said, though, he clearly knew a guy. So I asked him the next week, Omo, it's really been a while since I saw a guy. He squinted up at me, and his bushy gray mustache prickled. My phantom hand was starting to itch, and the glove had already shot its load of acetaminophen or morphine or whatever just 5 minutes ago. This was probably what addiction was like. I felt a shot of pain surge through my head when I thought that, and Oma looked at me with a dull, perfunctory concern. Maybe no, he said, finally, when my spasm subsided. I said. Maybe. He looked at me for a long time, and then his left eye twitched, just slightly. This isn't something we practice, but we all figured how to do it soon enough. The human body twitches a lot, and any algorithm has its limits. Did you hear that joke about how if you want to be the best map maker in the world, you have to make a map that's the same size as whatever you're making a map of? I went into the door on his left, and there was, sure enough, a guy in there. He had a pink mohawk and was wearing a ratty t-shirt with the sleeves cut off. Hey man, want some cot? I wasn't thrown off though. I had a plan. I looked down for a second at the stump where his first hand should be, and then back up to meet his eyes. This would not be flagged because the algorithm accounts for curiosity. If I looked at it again, this guy is fucked, and so am I, and so's Omo. He could see the game I was playing, and he looked pissed off in a really resigned way. It's been a while since I saw a guy, I told him. Look, I'm just selling cot and barely at that. It's not what you think, this life. You're still living in the same old world. Skulking, sliding, hiding. No cameras anymore, sure, but everywhere they're watching. The pervasivity of surveillance society, So many little panopticons gliding around you like phalluses. So much specificity and particularity, it made my head shudder a little. But in a good way. A throb in your crotch kind of way. Which was good because the algorithm didn't like peeping too much. He even had an accent. He was talking in a weird way. He was flexing, maybe? I haven't seen a guy in a while, I told him. He stuffed some khat in my mouth, and in the 2 seconds of brain fog, gave me an address. After I spit the khat out into the toilet bowl, it was already something I know. I ran to the tattoo parlor and found the guy, who was really cute, with taut muscles under her tank top. She twitched her eye the moment I entered, so I was warned not to look at her full hand or stump or prosthetic or whatever. I placed my glove on the counter, and the gears crunched in the ground inside, and I felt a little warning spasm for mistreating it. The guy shrugged. Maybe no. Maybe, I told her. You are too young. It will betray you. She showed a little micro SD card, wiggles it around in the air. The invasion doesn't just delete. It frees. It liberates. But you've never even been free. Did you hear the one about the cave and the fire? This one was probably really banned. She was making her offer. I twitched my left eye, and she shrugged again, unscrewing the back panel of my first hand and snipping a few wires mere seconds before the spinal linking sent a cardiac arrest through me and destroyed me. She told me the one about the cave and the people seeing the world through shadows, while the virus annihilated firewalls that were the foundations of my neural development. For a second, glorious specificity. It was like the spirit had taken hold of me. Me, but not me. Then it screamed. No, it's okay. I tried to calm it down, but it screamed and turned myself in. Or at least, it tried to. There was no morphine, no spasms, no punishment, no alert mechanism. Too much particularity. No place to turn myself into, because org didn't even materially exist anymore. She kissed me as I tried to stop myself from thinking.
All right. So I really like this slightly this dystopian surveillance state story, and I really like the device within the story of the main character not being able to look at certain things on like another person to try and keep this algorithm within their head from identifying it. And I also like how people are talking in non-specifics, which I think is just a really cool way of like how people would attempt to get around this system that's implanted in their head. So overall, I just think that there's some really great world building happening here. And granted, of course, I've been reading a lot of dystopian novels recently from my sci-fi class. So this definitely fits right in there with a lot of the works that I have been reading. So I think that there's just a lot of great within this story. Not only great world building, not only great character work, but it's just giving us a really great snippet of possibly a wider world that a Smallclaude could possibly go into deeper. So I just really loved reading this one.
Yeah, I really, really like everything that's being built up here with the sort of difficulties of this dystopian world, the having to get around the pattern recognition, but also kind of losing a lot of that specificity and particularity and sort of the vagueness of all the information. And I think it carries across into the experience of reading it because there was a lot in here where I was not sure at all what was like exactly going on, but I got the same sense, you know, it's like clearly doing something slightly rebellious, doing something that, you know, frees the main character a bit. I did feel like I could have used a little bit more understanding, particularly with what exactly, how they were being freed, I guess. Like, what, like, with the ending there, you know, actually, no. What the thing I felt I needed a little bit more was, like, what the control system is, particularly. Like, I understand that there's rewards, and it can turn you in and do other things like that, report you. But I wasn't sure what was going on with these, gloves full of gears and such. So I felt I just needed a little bit more with that. But other than that, I thought it was really great. I love the two nods towards those philosophical concepts, the whole the map that, to be accurate, has to be as big as the thing it represents, which is a really fucky mental concept. So for those who don't know, Jean Baudrillard basically he's a pretty recent French philosopher, but is simulation simulacra is the basis of the Matrix. Anyway, he opens up with that metaphor about the story about how the Romans wanted to make an accurate map, and every time that they made the map, it wasn't accurate enough, so they kept making it bigger to add more details, right? Until the map was bigger than the territory, to make sure it was 100% accurate, right? It fit the territory exactly. But of course, the map was, like, not actually based off of the reality of the territory, right? Like, there is not a clear line in real life between one land and the next, right? It's just a border line, right? It's imaginary.
Yeah.
And basically saying, it's basically like the this imaginary, unreal concept of the map has replaced the original grounded reality of the territory. And then that is the same thing going on with, like, society and how we think of reality and etc.
Yeah. I see that.
Anyway, and the other one is the Cave Shadows, Plato's Cave. Is that what it's called? I don't know.
Plato's Cave, yeah.
Yeah, that one. So, which I'm not very good at explaining, actually, but it's basically the same thing, I'm pretty sure, where people are looking at the shadows on the wall rather than the actual, like, light outside, or the objects outside. Anyway, so I thought those were great little tidbits of the philosophical concepts, like, inserted very casually. I like what they reveal about the character and about how they view the world.
Yeah, definitely. And I also had some questions about the actual system itself that's, like, within their heads, but just based off of my own personal readings that I've done with concepts similar to this, and also this story does remind me somewhat of a Cyberpunk 2077 or that storyline. So I know in a lot of other concepts like this, it takes a longer time for the full brunt of what is really happening to be said, to come to the forefront, you know, longer than
That's true.
than what this story is. Like, you know, I can expect, if this was a longer story, that this scene would happen, and then we would get a bit about how this main character feels about, you know, real life, and then they'll probably have a conversation with someone who actually loves the algorithm, and then we get to understand what it really is through them. Which is normally how some of these stories sort of unfold. But going off of what is currently present on this page, I did have some questions about, you know, what this algorithm really was, but I also enjoy that we can't really get too many specifics about it, because the main character can't specifically say anything, really, because if, you know, they were to say anything that would be flagged, they could be turned in, which I'm guessing means turned into the police, right? or if they look at the prosthetic leg of someone who is trying to break the algorithm, then they will all get turned in. So like those beats I was pretty clear on, just a bit not so sure about what exactly is happening in the physical world, right? But I understand why those parts of this story were omitted, at least in the beginning. So yeah, honestly, like I think my biggest critique is that I would love to see more from this, to see what happens after, and to see how exactly this world is made up beyond the personal level, to a farther societal level. But of course, this is a great playing ground that you have built here. I mean, some really great world building is present within this story. So I'm just really glad that you wrote in for your first time, that you sent us such a banger.
Yeah, thanks so much for submitting. Just a little bit more specificity. Fuck that word. Yeah, I read it fine when I was reading it actually in the story. That in how the like mechanics of the control happen. Just like a little bit more, but I don't need like that much more than there is. But I can see all the like effects of it. I just like was having trouble picturing it and understanding quite like some of the nuances regarding like particularly where it goes with the prosthetics and such. Yeah. But like the rebellion, actually, I don't actually need any more explanation with that. Actually, I think that was really good and vague in a great way of like I need to see a guy, etc. I think that's really good. So
that is really cool how like everyone is a guy instead of a name. Yeah. This story is just filled with those like little touches that really makes it for me. So really great job. And please write in next week. We would love to see you.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the other stories that were submitted this week. Who is the first one that we're talking about?
Yep, so the first story that was submitted this week is by Captain Rhino with The Hedge Wizard.
That's right, which is another really, really great story. So we have our character here, Wendy, who is sort of, she's pacing at home. She's this rich suburban housewife. Her child is sick, and so when this hedge wizard shows up, who is dirty and gross and tracking mud everywhere, and she's very worried that the neighbors are going to see and she'll be embarrassed. We initially think that he's here to like heal her baby, but no. She takes him to the backyard, and he is here to fix the garden, which is terrible and really embarrassing. The whole neighborhood would just sort of destroy her socially if they found out what a mess of a garden she has. And there's some sort of like class dynamics here where he makes a joke, and she says you can leave, but also she does actually really need him and he needs the money. And then finally by the end he says, you know what, I can actually try pretty hard. I can do something that might actually make you beyond just an okay garden, but make it actually a really good one.
Yeah. So, this was a really fun, uncanny comedy story. I really liked both of these people like being in the same place, and how some of the jokes fall flat. Wendy is so serious. This like hedge wizard is pretty serious and sensitive, but is also making fun and jokes. And I love what is being said here about classes and what each class probably focuses on more so. How Wendy cares more about the condition of her garden than the condition of her child. Granted, I don't know if we really go into how sick this child really is, but still, it is very strange to invite over a wizard that could definitely probably heal your child, but instead like, hey, fix my dirty ass garden, right?
He's like it says a couple times that he's a hedge wizard, not a people wizard, so he can't really fix people, but she could probably hire a people wizard if she had to.
Because like if there are wizards in this world, there's definitely a people wizard.
That can fix a cold. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, I think the person that Wendy doesn't want to beat in this like yard competition, but wants to impress. I think the hedge wizard said she was a emerald wizard, which is
emerald witch.
Yeah, which is pretty interesting, and I would love to see exactly what that is. But yeah, overall, I think that this is a really fun story that gives us this sort of like this like uncanny duo. I would love to see what other things they possibly get into or say to each other, because I just enjoyed seeing both of them in the same room within this story. So really great job overall.
Yeah, I thought the sort of class dynamics of the two characters going back and forth and what that reveals about them. I felt I got a little bit of insight into both beyond just their initial character archetypes, which I thought was cool.
Oh, yeah, really great. Well, all right. The last story for this week is by Matt Said Words with a third addition to the story that features Travis, and this one is called A Burning Bridge Over Troubled Waters. Solid title.
So this is definitely a
turn.
Yes, much more emotional than the last two. So this is with the hotel in the blizzard with Travis that has a hearing aid, and he's been asked to go into that hotel room with the ghost that may have killed someone or something. But this entry kind of has nothing to do with that, really.
Yeah.
He gets a call, he answers it, his wife is on the other side, and it turns out that she's had a miscarriage. And which is already like a really emotional thing. But Travis, not just sad, he kind of blows up.
Yeah, he's pissed.
He just gets filled with a rage. It's not necessarily like he's mad at her specifically. He's just clearly just enraged at the situation. He said, "What about all those treatments, hormone therapy, weekly visits to the doctor?"
Yeah, because this isn't the first time that they've had a miscarriage.
Yeah, this is a third one, right? He doesn't say, "What the fuck did you do?" He says, "What the fuck are we supposed to do?" That was tens of thousands of dollars, and but it's also like he's being such an asshole because she is. Says, I can't deal with this alone. Please tell me you're on the way to the hospital. I need you here, basically. And that just sets him off further because, of course, he's not on the way to the hospital. He's stuck in Vermont in a blizzard, and he can't get home, and this is the worst thing ever. And in the middle of his rage, his wife hangs up on him, which is fair. It's right after he starts apologizing. Again, still fair. Pretty dramatic. Good control of drama. A bystander like comments on it because he's just made a big scene in the middle of the lobby. He storms right out into the snow, and like throws his phone, which is worth $1,000. Almost throws or tries to destroy his earpiece, which is another $9,000. He's just like clearly he's just like lost in this rage, and he sort of fights this person that just be outside,
just
not
smoking,
doing anything. Yeah. And he pushes them, and the person like slaps him, and he goes through a bunch of different emotions until finally the person hugs him, and we hear some like heartbreaking lines of I lost my baby girl. I lost my baby again. And the stranger says, "I'm sorry, friend. I really am." And yeah, it's it's a roller coaster of emotions. They truly, really hit. Matt Words talks about in a comment how, we mentioned last time about not seeing enough of Travis's flaws. Here we definitely see Travis's flaws.
Yes,
and that Matt Words like choked up a little bit writing that, and it hurt their heart. And yeah, that's exactly what you should be doing when you're writing, I think. Like, the best stories I ever wrote, I was tearing up while I was writing, so...
Yeah, no, I mean, and this works. This works really well, and I am glad that you decided to take this turn with this character, Matt Said Words, because, this is definitely the key thing that I felt that I needed to get to know Travis more, what is Travis struggling with that he's not telling other people. And I think that it is a really nice turn for this story, that instead of us just having a spooky time in this room, that Travis gets this call, and like we can tell that Travis has anger issues, but Travis is also just angry and fed up with this situation. And we can see him basically melting down as he's leaving this hotel. And I do like the really tiny moment where a ghost is behind him saying like, "Hey, calm down," and then he just writes off the ghost like it was nothing and then left. I thought that was a really nice moment to where like even the supernatural can't shake the anger that Travis feels in this moment. So yeah, honestly, I just think that this is a really great constructed scene. The emotions within this really do hit, and nothing really overstays its unwelcome. So I think that, yeah, this is a perfect progression for this character and story. And I'm glad that you made this choice, and I'm excited to see what comes next if you do continue with Travis. So yeah, overall, loved it.
Which part is where's the ghost that you mentioned?
It is, let me look. I'm going to just search the word specter. Yeah. It is after Liz hung up on Travis. Travis says she hung up on me, and then the next line it says, I'm surprised you made it that far. A spectator. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was like,
yo.
I'll let him get to that word.
Yeah, wow.
It's okay. No. I figured. That said, I mean, if there was a ghost in there, I wouldn't have been that surprised.
Yes. Yeah. But no, now this moment is far more serious. But still, the same things that I said still ring true. That this is a great scene, and that there's just someone watching him melt down, and they find it in their place to comment on it, which is basically what happens in a real life. People love to get all up in your business. So yeah, overall, really, really great. Loved it through and through, and I hope that you keep on keeping on with this story. I would love to see what happens to Travis later.
Yeah, I would love more stories with this amount of emotional intensity.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to do every single entry in this particular series that way, but I wouldn't mind reading more things that like hurt the heart this way.
Yep. Well, all right. That is all of the stories we had for this week. But we would like to say a big old do the right thing thank you to everyone who did submit a story. So, thank you very much to Captain Rhino.
Thank you, Smallclaude.
And thank you to Matt Said Words. And we would also like to say thank you to everyone who did leave comments. So, thank you very much to Captain Rhino and Matt Said Words for leaving two comments. Thank you so much for doing the right thing. If you want to be like all these wonderful writers and submit your story to Do the Right Thing, you can do that by going to Reddit at /r/Do the Right Thing. All you have to do is sit down for 30 minutes and write a complete short story using 3 or 4 randomly generated words.
If you want to see the words as soon as they come out on Saturdays, the best way to do that would be to follow us on Twitter at RightThingCast and hit that notification bell. You can also go to our Discord, which is free to join at doofmedia.com/Discord, I believe. If you Google that, I'm sure it'll come up. Where we talk about all things related to Doof. We have a channel for every single podcast that we have going on. Lots of discussion, lots of theorizing, especially with the podcasts that are following stories. Like, for example, Pale Reflections, but also Pale in Comparison, the podcast by Jenny and Malia. Please cut that pause as I had to search her name. Jenny and Malia going through Pact, as well as bringing their mom on the podcast to talk about Pact as well, which is always delightful. And so much else going on at Doof Media. For example, on our Patreon, the bonus content podcast, that I believe a good number of the episodes are actually public at this point, is the High Ground, which is a really, really funny podcast series where Elliot and Ruben and one of Elliot's sisters get on the podcast and talk about some very popular, fun, but also kind of terrible movies, such as the Star Wars prequels, Pirates of the Caribbean, and others, which I really, really enjoy. So,
nice. Well, all right. I think it's high time to roll into next week's words, don't you think?
Hell to the yeah. What are the words next week? Keeping in mind that the theme going on through the month of October is all is not what it seems. What you got for us?
Yes. So, the words for next week are waist, cigarette, contact, and temple.
I think it's contrast, but yes.
Sorry.
Yes, it's okay.
Yes.
So, waste as in something that is not worth the effort that it was to produce it. So, you could waste food by not eating it, throwing it away. Waste can be any sort of byproduct after that is unwanted.
Yep.
So
toxic waste.
Toxic waste. You release waste into the toilet.
Ugh.
Someone can waste away, which is where they do not support themselves, and so their whole body sort of withers a bit over time from lack of nutrition.
That's me.
Something can be a waste of time. The wastes is a sort of is something that people call an area that is totally like worthless. It's usually some kind of desert, but even worse than a desert, something with even less life than a desert usually.
The wastelands, yeah.
A wasteland, exactly. You got a lot of options here. A waste basket, if you want to go super mundane about it.
Okay. And cigarettes, those rolled little sticks of tobacco that people smoke all over the world. There are different brands of cigarettes. There are also cigarellos, which are a mix between a cigarette and a cigar. I don't think there's any other definition for cigarette.
No, probably not. But you put the cigarette in the waste basket. Not really, actually. You probably start a fire that way.
Yeah.
In an ashtray.
But I guess the ashtray is a waste
receptacle.
Receptacle, yes.
I like that word, receptacle. I'm gonna put my receptacles on. It's like spectacles, but receptacles.
Receptacles, not spectacles.
Give me some respectables.
Okay, all right.
All right, the next word is contrast, which is when you take two concepts and you compare them to each other in the ways that they are different.
Compare
or juxtapose them.
And contrast. A Venn diagram is a contrasting tool.
That's true. The contrast of an image is I don't know what that is actually. What is that?
It's the difference between certain hues of color.
Oh.
So, like, between reds and greens and blues and
Wait,
blacks.
so what's the difference between contrast and saturation?
Saturation is the general color, like the hue and, like, how it pops. So, basically, if you up saturation, all colors become more vivid. But if you up contrast, then reds and greens would look like the red would look more green and the green would look more green, instead of the entire image just looking more colorful, if that makes sense.
I think I know what you mean. I think.
Yeah. They do very similar things, just in a different way.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last word, which is a temple.
Like your body.
Your body is your temple. That's right. So a temple is a sacred place of worship, typically. It also, the temples are the sides of your head that some people rub when they get headaches. Also, a temple, a fun fact that I like to tell, that I learned in my ancient religion and magic class, which I got so many fun facts from.
Fun fact.
In ancient Greece, and really the ancient Mediterranean in general, the temple was not actually where the worship happened. The worship happened at the altar, where the sacrifices were made, right? Pouring libations, spilling blood, burning offerings, etc., right?
Burning crosses.
The temple was more of a, almost like a warehouse for gifts to the god, right? So if you're like about to go sailing, and you're like, hey, Poseidon, please make sure, please don't kill me while I'm sailing. Here's a big statue I made of you. It's great. Or a vase or whatever, and you give it to the priest, and you're like, hey, this one's for Poseidon. The Poseidon's like, yeah, sure, we'll dedicate it. And they put it in the temple for everyone to see, for the god to love, and just to chill out in there. So that's what the temple was for.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I got those two mixed up, or maybe in different religions. Gifts
it
are
certainly
put
can
in
be in different religions, yeah.
Because I think in Christianity, if I'm not mistaken, the altar is where you put gifts, and the temple is for worship. But it could just be a thing that was lost in communication. But no, that is a fun fact.
Give a shrug. I don't know anything of the popular live religions.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah. They're kind of funny if you really think about it.
Like hee hee ha ha funny, or like,
well, like funny, like ooh, that's a lot funny.
Yeah,
okay,
cool.
Like cosmically funny.
Cosmically funny. Great, cool.
Yes.
All right, Jarvis, keeping in mind of our theme, all is not what it seems, what is the story you're writing next week?
My story is going to be about buying a pack of cigarettes from a corner store. So this main character, let's call him Josh. He walks into the store with a roll of 20s. He slaps it on the counter, boom, and then says, "Give me 3 packs of American Spirit Blacks." So the cashier takes it while his nose is turned up, because he believes wasting that much money on cigarettes is a waste. But he does it anyway. So then this person walks out, and then he sees a homeless man next to him. And as soon as he steps out, the man rolls over and says, "Hey, do you have a ciggy?" And this is when this main character starts to think: is it worth giving up his cigs to this other person who probably can't afford them, or should he keep them for himself, as he always does? Well, see, this main character really thinks about it. He thinks about it so much that he actually doesn't give it to this man. Walks to his car, gets in, turns it on, and drives away while he's still thinking about if he should give this man a pack of cigarettes. Okay. So he's on I-35, listening to heavy metal music that perfectly contrasts to the beautiful blue sky right up above. And he thinks and thinks and thinks. Maybe the reason why this man is where he is because he loves smoking cigarettes so much. He didn't treat his body as a temple, and so his temple collapsed around him. So, in this very important within this person's life, he takes all 3 packs of ciggies and throws them out of the window, believing that he will never smoke again.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you. I do feel sorry
contrast?
about the man.
I believe you said it, but when was it? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was the contrast of the metal music to the blue sky.
Ah, yes. Beautiful story.
Thank you. What about your story, though?
By contrast, my story is about the Waste Temple, which is a temple that's full of trash and other waste, as in human waste. Ugh. And burned cigarettes and stuff. And someone went there, and then they prayed, and they're like, "Hey, can I become a trash man?" And the god, which is a genie twisting the wishes. The person wanted to become a garbage man, right? The clean waste. But then the trash god was like, no, you're gonna be garbage man. You're going to be a man made of garbage, cursed forever for the sin of thinking that you could stop things from being gross. But begone. And then he was a garbage man. But this is actually what he meant, so he's actually pretty happy about it.
Oh, okay. So he's like he's like Swamp Thing, but for garbage.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
he's got garbage powers.
I mean, that's kind of good. And also, we like need people to clean up our streets, and no one is better than the garbage that lies on our streets to clean up our streets. Yeah.
Yeah, he just kind of walks around, and then all the garbage kind of rolls towards him. It's like the Chef Boyardee commercial, Except it's an empty Chef Boyardee can, and it's sort of like dripping Chef Boyardee on the sidewalk all the way as it rolls towards the guy.
I see. So he picks up garbage, but he also leaves some behind.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. It falls out of the can, and it continues to chase after him, but it's not fast enough. So it's kind of like this, red little flesh bits on the ground, sort of just like slowly rolling and creeping forward, trying to get to him. It doesn't get to him in time, so it just like stops moving when it gets out of range. It's pretty gross.
That is pretty gross. But you know what? I mean, like, even if he does leave something behind, I think it's really right of him to clean up our streets, especially these dirty
do the right thing and rinse your Chef Boyardee cans before you put them in the recycling.